Hello viewers, I have a little tutorial here on a method to check capacitors in electric motors. So in this particular case, I was having some trouble with my air compressor, and the electric motor on there was getting to the point here over this past summer where it would start and run just fine, but then if it needed to start again, within a few minutes, or if I used a bunch of air out of the tank, it wouldn't start a second time. It would just buzz and then actually blow the circuit breaker. So I suspected the capacitors, or capacitor. I thought there was only one capacitor in the motor, but it turns out there are two, which means that it is a capacitor start, capacitor run type motor. So anyway, I went to the electric motor shop and was able to get a set of new capacitors, and I just wanted to share a little video here on a method to check these things. So I actually, before I went into the shop, I checked the capacitors, and the test method that I used, which is what I'm about to show, showed a defective capacitor. So I'll just start over here. This is the old start capacitor. This is the new start capacitor. Old run capacitor, new run capacitor from the motor. So I will take these each and I'll show you here. I'm going to short these things and just make sure they're discharged. Just touch a probe between the two terminals on each one. I'll actually do it to all of them here. Okay, so this is the old one, start capacitor, 540 to 648 or 43, 540 to 643 microfarads, 110 volts. Actually, it is 648. Having a hard time reading that. Anyway, so that's the old one. And if you watch the meter, basically I've got it set, this meter set to R times 10K. And I'm going to touch the probes to the terminals on the capacitor. So watch the meter. You can see it deflects. And then it starts creeping back towards infinity. We've actually, the ohmmeter actually charges this capacitor. But this is a normal what you would see. It should deflect and then the needle should fall back towards infinity. So that's the old capacitor, which actually, when I brought it into the electric motor shop, the technician there said that it was still good, and it is showing that. So here's the new one, same rating, 540 to 648 microfarads, 125 volts. So you see a little higher voltage rating, but basically the same capacitor, same manufacturer, BMI. You see that on this one here too, BMI. I think that's Baldor motor. But watch the now watch the needle on this one. Well, that was me. That isn't right. Let's discharge. I think my probe slipped off. Discharge it again. You could see though that it did deflect. Okay, watch the needle again. There it deflects and starts falling back towards infinity. So those two are good. I could have used the same capacitor back in the motor, but I just thought, I've got it all tore apart. It took quite a bit of time just to access the capacitors, so I decided to just replace it anyway with a new one. And now I'll have a spare on hand. So now let's take a look at the run capacitors. So here's the old one. 25 microfarads, 370 volts AC. There you can see the bulging on the top of the capacitor. It's actually, the bulging has actually caused the two terminals to just somewhat point at an angle outwards. I didn't notice that right away. I should have, but the technician spotted that right away. He goes, "Oh, look at it, it's bulged." He could see right away that was bad. But if we put that one on the meter, and watch the meter here. See, nothing happens. Absolutely nothing, no deflection. So this capacitor is defective, no deflection at all. So that's the old one. Now we take the new one and do the same thing. Oh, by the way, that one is 25 microfarad, 370 volts AC, same rating, same capacitor, same size. So if you watch the meter on this one, when I hook touch it to the terminals, it does deflect and fall back towards infinity. So there we go. That shows this is a good capacitor. You should see that deflection, and then the needle should start to fall back. So that's just one quick way that you can test capacitors on your own to see if you have a problem. And like I mentioned, just physically look at the capacitor. This run capacitor is bulged, obviously defective. So that's probably, well, that explains why the compressor wasn't running properly. So I'm going to install them in hopes that this takes care of the problem. And with fall or coming and colder temperatures, freezing temperatures, I'm going to have to do some blowing out of water lines that are outside. So I need a reliable compressor. But anyway, I hope this helps somebody. Again, you can just, the ohmmeter, this is just a basic ohmmeter, like I said, set to R times 10K. I did zero it before I started, by the way. You can see there you zero it. There's an adjuster on that. So you zero your ohmmeter. I should have mentioned that at the beginning, but zero that out. You know, touch the leads together and zero it out. But you can use any ohmmeter with a similar setting on it. It might, save you some money. You can do this yourself, replace these yourself. But make sure that before you do any testing that you do discharge them. So you take a piece of wire or a probe or something and touch it to the two terminals. Avoid touching the terminals yourself with your fingers until you do actually discharge them. You can do that on, pretty easy to do. Just touch them together. Takes any voltage out of there that might be in there, shorts it. So anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good day.